As Naruto fans, we all know that the Akatsuki are filled with the most elite of S-rank criminals, which is why Itachi managing to stay undercover in the group for as long as he did without getting caught by any of the members was very impressive. Outside of Obito and Zetsu, the other members of the group, they didn't know that Itachi truly wasn't one of them. However, Kisame was dangerously close to figuring out the truth, and it makes sense when you think about it. Ninja, they are taught to deceive, but the elite shinobi, they know how to see through deception, even when it's carefully hidden by someone like Itachi. It's something that is taught to shinobi and drilled into their heads as early as the academy days, which makes Itachi spending nearly every day of his time in the Akatsuki with partners like Orochimaru and Kisame and Jizu, under the watchful eye of a prodigy like Nagato, and not getting caught by any of them. So impressive. Join me in today's newest edition of After Naruto Shippuden, where we take a look at how Sasuke discovered how Kisame almost figured out that Itachi was a spy. For those of you guys who are new, After Naruto Shippuden is a series on the channel where we take a look at stories and events that occurred during the era that fans call the blank period, set between Naruto chapter 699 and chapter 700. Many of these stories were either only partially adapted with changes made into the anime story or not at all, like the one that we're going to be discussing today. The information is going to be coming to us via the Naruto epilogue story, Akatsuki Hidden Evil Flowers in Full Bloom, which takes place as Sasuke is completing his redemption journey and is 1 month's travel away on foot from Konoha, which for reference, the Saiyan village is a 3-day journey moving at urgent speed. Sasuke's not moving urgently. So that should give you an idea of how far away Sasuke is from the village currently. Sasuke had just previously trained 2 young boys who survived their family being murdered by Itachi and Kisame several years ago in the timeline, back when Itachi first joined the group. This leads to Sasuke feeling both shame at having once worn those Akatsuki robes, as well as curiosity as he finds himself wondering about the context that led to Itachi killing that family of these 2 brothers that Sasuke had trained. What starts out as a journey to learn more about Itachi quickly becomes Sasuke digging into the other Akatsuki members to find out if any of them could have been redeemed had they had a Naruto Uzumaki or a Sakura Haruno who never gave up on them, which causes Sasuke to wander off the path to Konoha and head into the direction closest towards the Land of Water to learn more of what happened with Itachi and Kisame versus the family that those 2 brothers he had just trained. And it's there that he learns how Itachi was almost caught by Kisame. With the scene and the context being set, it's here I'm going to begin reading the selected scenes from the story itself, and then I'm going to come back to you guys with my thoughts and extra context, and it's here I'm going to begin quoting. Unlike his cloak, there were no clouds in the sky. The round moon, it floated above. Both his eyes glowed red as they captured the moonlight, his Sharingan. Itachi looked up at the moon and slowly touched his forehead. It was his proof that he was a shinobi of Konoha, his ninja headband, yet to those who saw it, it wasn't proof. There was a wound on his headband, a horizontal cut through the Konoha symbol, the proof that he was a missing ninja. He was once considered a generational genius of the ancient and honorable Uchiha clan. He now carried dishonor of having been viewed as a family-killing traitor. Itachi's mind went towards his younger brother, who he had split in 2, like that Konoha mark on his forehead. He knew he had changed Sasuke for the worse. Itachi especially remembered what today was. He could never forget today's date. He would always remember what it was. It was the day that he halted the Uchiha clan coup d'etat, and the day that he is stained in Uchiha blood. The bond of affection between himself and Sasuke was now one of hatred, yet it was a complex one. Itachi still loved his brother, but Sasuke could never know that, and Itachi was the one who made it that way. Sasuke could never, under any circumstances, learn the truth. He could never be told of anything of substance. Itachi must always be hated by Sasuke. It pained him to do so, but it was Itachi's hope that hatred would fuel Sasuke. If he saw his older brother continue to commit crimes after killing their clansmen, Itachi hoped that Sasuke wouldn't hesitate to kill him, to restore the honor of the Uchiha clan. Itachi knew better than anyone the bitterness in handling loved ones. He had once killed someone dear and precious to him. He had ended her life during the Uchiha massacre. When the time came for Sasuke to kill him, he wanted him to do so without feeling sorrow. In Itachi's eyes, he dreamed of it, and he would hold on to it long enough for it to happen. His eyes, they no longer shed tears of sorrow. He lost that right. Itachi closed his eyes to block out the moonlight. His eye would only shed tears of blood before he used his Mangekyo to carry out those crimes. Itachi suddenly heard a voice calling out from behind him. Turning his head, he saw the sword of Samehada pointed directly at him. Kisame, his partner within the Akatsuki. "You left so quietly. I thought you had abandoned the Akatsuki," Kisame said. Itachi's Sharingan studied him. His words were impossible to discriminate between a joke and seriousness, as was often the case with Kisame. Itachi narrowed his eyes. "Please don't glare at me like that. It's a pain to disturb someone's alone time. But the purpose of the Akatsuki's team, it has another meaning to it. We're to mutually monitor one another. You of all people should know loyalty is fleeting. We don't know who or when someone will betray it, like Orochimaru, someone from your village," Kisame said. Itachi said nothing, aware of Samehada's location, and continued to look at him through narrowed eyes, his Sharingan peering into Kisame's soul. Orochimaru was also from Konoha like Itachi. Along with Jiraiya and Tsunade, Orochimaru was part of a group known as the legendary Sani. He was a ruthless man who used any means to satisfy his desires, with Akatsuki being a convenient means for him. While he was in the Akatsuki, Orochimaru could do what he wanted, experiment on whoever he wanted, and eventually he wanted to possess the natural genius in the Sharingan of Itachi, and so Itachi easily defeated him. At the time, Itachi thought Sasori, the puppet user working with Orochimaru, had found Orochimaru's betrayal to be surprisingly painful, immediately vowing to kill him for his transgression. "I've been thinking," Itachi said. "I'm proud to be with you, the genius of the Uchiha clan. However, on the day that you betray the Akatsuki, I'll have the duty of being the one entrusted to kill you." End quote. Now, it's at this point that the mist in the area, it begins to thicken, and Itachi and Kisame have to cut their conversation short because they know they're about to be attacked by the Mist Village shinobi, the Anbu, who have gathered around the cave outside that they're hiding in. Among the shinobi hunting them are the two brothers of the students that Sasuke briefly took on a train on a mere whim. While it isn't directly stated during this portion of the story where Sasuke is looking into the Akatsuki, the smart money to bet on why Kisame thought to question Itachi was over the moment that Itachi broke from his normal actions when he was reflecting on Sasuke. As Tsunade told Sakura during their training, if you watch even the most skilled shinobi closely, they have moments where they betray themselves. Itachi had referred to being unable to shed tears anymore as he thought back to the path that he forced Sasuke to walk down. Itachi had said his eyes only existed to shed blood tears from this moment onward. It's a reference to the blood that pools in the eyes that falls when he overuses Mangekyo Sharingan, meaning that in this time since leaving Konoha, Itachi had finally begun experiencing the side effects of using Mangekyo Sharingan too much that his eyes were now bleeding when using them. Itachi during that time was running his fingers across the Konoha symbol on his headband, and you have to believe that plus the face that Itachi was making was enough to raise a red flag for Kisame. Itachi was not acting normally. Itachi wasn't behaving like you would expect a rogue ninja to behave. He was acting like someone who still had love and loyalty to his village, or in this case, both love for his village and love for the brother who he left behind in his village. Kisame knew Itachi was hiding something, and this was a brother that Kisame never knew existed, which makes that statement in Naruto chapter 146 hit differently now, especially when you have this context. Look at the surprise that Kisame had when he learned that Itachi still had a brother, and he made particular emphasis on the fact that he was told Itachi wiped out the entire Uchiha clan, that there were no survivors. That whole scene should read differently, particularly the way that Itachi went into overkill when dealing with Sasuke, when Sasuke called himself fighting Itachi, the same Itachi, stating a couple of chapters later that he needed to rest because Kisame was flat out questioning Itachi. Why didn't they just gang up on Jiraiya in that moment? Which they had every right to do so, with Naruto right there, ready to be captured. Jiraiya would be at a handicap because he would have to protect Sasuke as well as protect Naruto. Naruto being unskilled as a fighter and Sasuke being basically unconscious. Itachi had previously told Kisame it was no point to try and attempt to fight Jiraiya as a duo, saying that at best case scenario, everyone will end up dead, which is cap. But this should make you view Kisame questioning Itachi a little bit differently. He's calling into question everything that he knew. Look at it from Kisame's perspective. First, you catch Itachi being nostalgic in a way that he's touching his headband, and the only reason you couldn't question any further is because of the Anbu who were attacking you. And given the way that the fight was playing out, if you're Kisame, you can't really question Itachi about his loyalties, given that during this fight, he saves your life due to the fact that these Anbu had prep time and a strategy that was custom built to take down Kisame. However, you don't forget what you see in a moment like this, and now everything leading up to that moment, it makes you question all the other small signs that you saw. You come to Konoha several months later, and instead of killing Kurenai, Itachi toys with her after flipping her genjutsu back onto her, and he just happens to miss her with his kunai when she breaks the genjutsu by biting her lip. He just happens to use Tsukiyomi on Kakashi but stops short of killing him with it, something that even Kakashi called into question, saying, "Why didn't you just kill me?" And Kisame, by this point in the timeline, knows that Itachi can use Tsukiyomi to kill someone because Itachi's done it before. When you want to attack Might Guy when he shows up with Kakashi unconscious, Itachi comes up with an excuse about you leaving, saying your fighting style will draw up too much attention, and yet you're right there as Itachi. You could have easily taken down Asuma, and you could have helped Kisame fight against Might Guy, especially because you don't need eye contact in order to put someone under genjutsu, because Itachi can do it through other parts of his body. Kisame knows that. Now you learn that this supposed cold-blooded clan killer had left behind a younger brother alive, not exactly someone who is a cold-hearted criminal, and he just happens to not kill this person after you call him out on having a brother alive. He left him alive once again, and now you have him refusing to fight Jiraiya when you guys have the numbers advantage, and Jiraiya has a handicap because a 13-year-old Naruto and Sasuke are right there who have to be protected. And he's telling you very conveniently, hey, I'm gonna need, depending on the translation you use, several days to recover after using Amaterasu and Tsukiyomi, which just happens to give Jiraiya enough time to put considerable distance between himself and Itachi and Kisame. I really love this scene because it just goes to show how even someone like Itachi isn't above making mistakes, and it just shows you how much of a tightrope that he was walking during this time period. Even crazier is how you can look back at how some of these scenes that take place after this, and you can piece together Kisame's actions with this information, the small subtle things. During this time, the Akatsuki, as we know it, was broken up into pairs, like how Jiraiya told Kakashi months later in the timeline that the Akatsuki had recently done so, specifically saying that they were seeking out sources of chakra and they were no longer doing mercenary work that we know people like Onoiki were hiring the Akatsuki for. Prior to this, again, Akatsuki were doing mercenary jobs, but given that people like Hidan and Kakuzu and Konan were actively gathering information on the location of Jinchuriki, it's safe to say that this isn't too far before. It's one of those things where Itachi's final days, they're starting to creep up on him, because he would several months later be approaching Konoha for the last time. Even though it's not directly stated, the timeline matches up. To learn more about what happened in that battle of Itachi and Kisame versus those rogue ninjas, click here to watch the video on how Itachi saved Kisame's life, which you'll be in for a treat for, since the editor who worked on that a few years ago, someone I don't work with anymore, he really did some amazing stuff to make those scenes come to life, since that scene was not animated. Or you can click here to check out more videos from the After Naruto Shippuden playlist for more stories that the anime never showed you.